Indonesian, I think, owner of Inter. He's a strange guy. He doesn't look like he's injecting big money into them. I don't even know why he's there, to be honest.
But the Inter's problem, and obviously we're going to have to cover Inter because we're going to be playing them in the last thing. Inter's problem, and we've discussed this in the last podcast we did. They've got good players. It just seems to be not gelling, which is a kind of hard.
I think we touched on it the last.
Well, they're bringing in Podolski.
That's what I've seen.
They're bringing in Podolski. They're also looking to bring in. They're also. Sorry? Well, they're looking to bring him in, is what I would say. But they're also looking to bring in Januzaj on loan.
So that'd be good for them.
Good
for Januzaj.
It'd be good for Januzaj. I don't know if it would be good for Inter. Just because I don't think they should be bringing in 21-year-olds who aren't necessarily got the experience.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
What they've got is a squad of talented players who don't deliver consistently. Now, I think part of that might be down to managers. You know, obviously there's still a fallout after Mourinho because what he done there was absolutely outstanding. But he did leave them with an ageing squad. The guys they've brought in have not been able to take the talent the players have got and utilise it. But I do think, in general, they have got an underperforming squad of players who are never going to be able to do it consistently. And bringing in guys like Podolski's another guy who, on his day, is a terrific player, but he's not going to do it week in, week out. Januzaj is untested. They need to bring in guys who are going to make a difference.
Yeah.
If they want to be competing at the top of Italian football and in European football, because the problems that Inter got are quite symptomatic of Serie A at large.
Yeah.
And I don't think... I think that they've got big steps to take before they can be kind of at the top table again.
See Zeman get sacked from Cagliari, and Zola's in charge. Well, did I read that right? Was it Zola that's in charge of Cagliari?
I don't know. I saw Zeman get. I love Zeman. I mean, I must admit, he's a tactical lunatic.
Yeah.
He's just. I love watching his sides. When some of the stuff that Roma played under him was frightening.
Yeah. In
both senses of the word. Some of the attacking stuff was phenomenal. Defensively, what the fuck's a defence, man? But I remember when Zeman get the bullet from Roma the last time. Totti came out and praised him to high heavens. Said he was absolutely fantastic.
And you know what, Louis? If Totti said it, it must be true.
It's gospel.
It's gospel. Okay, so I think the point McKenna were making about to Napoleon at Napoleon_Celtic is realistically, I don't know. I think that's the problem. And as you say, Chris, you know, if this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we could sit down and say, well, we could get this guy, we could get that guy. We just don't really know who we could get. But what we would say is we're looking for a mature, experienced player. Louis, you someone who can guide a younger, inexperienced young player. And I made the joke last podcast about David Weir. But David Weir did come into Rangers and he's a nasty bastard. He was always a nasty bastard. But
whatever happened to him?
He
Still
is
running the wrong way in that picture.
What picture?
Must have seen the picture.
Oh yeah, the thingy one.
What you actually doing?
What's he doing?
Who knows? That was the question.
At the Old Firm game, he's going the total opposite way.
Well, we'll tweet that picture later on. Aye. So it's hard. Well, do you know what? We'll come back to that because we'll have a think. I think Russell Martin would be a great one. Jonas Olsen is my other suggestion. I think he's a good player. Someone like, for example, John O'Shea, I don't think would be productive. I think that's a counterproductive.
Paddy McGuinness.
Your man said. Chris Sermanni just said about your QPR, Irish internationalist, big fat guy.
Done.
Fuck that noise. We don't need him.
No.
So I mean, we'll come back to it anyway.
I would trust in Deila. I think Deila. I don't think he's daft. If there's one thing I like about Deila, and that, fair enough, there's a lot of Celtic fans who have a different opinion of him than we do. But I think if there's one thing about Deila, I think he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
And at least he's not indecisive and pissing about. I think the guy knows what he wants, and I think it would even come down to individuals and certainly positions. He knows what he wants for each position, and he'll go and get it. And I like that. I like that rather than some wishy-washy, maybe this or maybe that. He knows what he wants, and if you don't get him it, or if it doesn't work out, he'll walk away. And I think he would do that. I think that guy is going to leave Celtic, whether he's a success or a failure, he'll walk away and he'll go, fuck it.
So
Fannies.
we've got. I can't believe you said that. I'm keeping that in.
It's fine.
So we've got more questions. Thanks for all your questions this year.
Thank you.
Good work. Thanks. Napoleon again _Celtic. Terrific stuff with his interaction. This is to France Valentin or Valentin
Beckenbauer.
France. It's to you, and we'll open it up just like all these questions. So, how have you gauged Ronny Deila's progress to date, and do you see any progress overall?
You've given the wrong question to the wrong man.
Sorry, that's for Chris Sermanni.
Well,
I would give Deila a solid
Do you want a drum roll?
6.5 out of 10.
Like my Christmas?
Yes.
Christmas.
That's it. That's the stuff.
Because I see I think last season Lennon had quite a poor first half of the season. Now Deila has as well, but what I have seen of him is at points. Obviously, we've qualified for the second stage of the last 32 of the Europa League, which is positive. We're still in all cup competitions. We're top of the league, so on paper that's fantastic. However, I think sometimes his performances, his starting 11 in certain games has been quite poor, and at times some of his substitutions have been baffling. I think he's got an idea of what he wants to do, but I think coming to Celtic, he struggled with the need to win every game, and I think that's kind of been a stumbling block for him, because he's obviously got an idea of what he wants to do and how he's going to implement that, but at the same time he can't lose very many games, and I think the transformations has been difficult for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think you make a good point in terms of the always needing to win, because this is something I've said, and it's kind of fucking obvious, frankly, but when a player or a manager comes into a club who are expected to win the league, they see their opposition, and they see the level of the opposition. A lot of the time they'll look at an away fixture and think, okay, we've got a point there. That's not too bad, you know. For example, if we got, let's just say we got a point at Aberdeen, the game we won a couple of weeks ago, or a month or two ago, when Van Dijk scored in the last minute. If we got a point there, in Ronny Deila's mind, he would have been like, terrific, we got a point away to Aberdeen, who are our main rivals, great. Whereas the media would have been like, Celtic held against, the point is, Scotland is Celtic management is so different from anywhere else fucking in the planet. You know, even Porto, when they were dominating and stuff, they still would have been okay with, you know, draws away to, you know, Benfica, but they had so many rivals. To be fair, it's a more balanced league. But the point is, Celtic is such a, obviously because Rangers not being there anymore as well. But I think a lot of the time the players and the managers maybe have it right. Maybe we shouldn't. Celtic seem to have this. Celtic fans, we pay more money, we've got better players, we should always win. That's just not how football works. Am I wrong in that, or is that just naivety?
No, but the same way you compared it to Porto, and they've got bigger rivals. Porto went the season completely undefeated not that long ago. Like Celtic fans, a lot of them see Celtic, and the gulf between Celtic and the rest of the teams is a lot bigger than Portugal.
I just chose Porto.
Oh, no, I know what you're saying, but
example.
I'm just using that. A lot of fans would expect Celtic to just dominate every team. Now that Rangers are gone, you've got to be realistic as well, but you want to see them bringing youth through and
I think that would be the key point. You know, that's the thing. We'll get to Neil Lennon and his tenure at Celtic a little bit later on, but you know, that's something he didn't do. You know, he had a kind of blank canvas, and he didn't do that, and he probably wasn't criticised as much because Neil Lennon doesn't get criticised a lot of the time, to be fair. But do you understand what I'm trying to say, Chris?
I do understand what you're trying to say, but I'll make a point that you made there. The Aberdeen game. If Van Dijk, put it this way, if Van Dijk hadn't scored in the last minute, Aberdeen would be joint top of the league. Now, a point away to Aberdeen isn't that bad a result, but there's a lot of other results that have been really poor, and they're starting to add up, and that's the problem. It's other results that haven't gone his way that we have.
Ross County at home, for example.
Ross County at home, Hamilton at home. Even at Hamilton at home, we created a lot of chances. That's why I would say I would give him more positive than negative, because see, even in a lot of these games that we've lost, see if you look at it, you know, a wee bit more. I think when Seth was on the podcast the other week, he looks at it statistically, and the statistics favour Ronny quite well. And it's good sometimes to take emotion out of it, stand back and look at it. Now, the performances haven't been good enough a lot of the times. However, there's been a lot of times whereby if we had an on-form striker, we would have converted, we would have changed a lot of draws into wins, some of the losses into wins. So what I can see is he's pretty close. If we can get tighter in the back and we can get a front line that takes more chances than it's missing, which we're making more chances than we're taking just now. I think if we can do that, then we're really going to kind of kick on. But the problem is that that's not happening yet. I can see signs that it might do, but in terms of where he is just now, 6.5 out of 10, and I'm maybe being a wee bit generous there, but I like the look of what he might be able to do, if you know what I mean.
You like the potential, Louis?
Well, we've talked about it before, and I kind of feel like I'm more in love with his ideas and what he says about the game and his view of the game than what I'm actually seeing. And it's a bit of a conflict. I think I really like the guy. I don't really have a bad word to say about him. I think he's as I said earlier, he knows what he wants, and I like that, especially in a manager. This is how he wants to do things. This is how he's going to do it. And I like that type of personality in charge of Celtic. But at the same time, things do have to maybe kick on a wee bit now, and we need to be... The fact that you're kind of uncertain as to what Celtic performance you're going to get from week to week isn't great, and that has to iron itself out. But at the same time, he's only had one transfer window. I don't even know how many of those players he really wanted. He's basically using someone else's squad and trying to play the way he wants. I still think we have to give him a lot of patience, but that's a difficult thing to get when you're a Celtic manager.
Do you think the fact that we're relying on the strikers so much, we need a goal scoring midfield?
Johannes?
Well, how many goals has he scored? And he has scored a few goals, and God bless him, he's terrific. I'm a huge fan of him, but he's not necessarily renowned for his goals. We're talking December. You'd like to have you'd like to have a striker on double figures at this point. I would like to have a midfielder in double figures at this point.
Listen, I think it's only just clicked for Ronny in the last maybe month or two. I think only
It's
now.
unclicked now, though.
I don't think it's unclicked. I think it's just individuals making mistakes and individuals not taking chances.
Ambrose was completely at fault for Dundee United.
There's a lot of players making individual errors,
but he still plays them. He makes mistake after mistake after mistake, and he still plays them. And people will turn around and say, "Well, he doesn't have anyone else. We'll throw a fucking youngster in because he'll make those mistakes, but he'll learn from them."
Fair enough, but I think personally, Deila. I think he's on the right track. I think we've seen already glimpses of what a Deila squad will be able to do, and I think it will be brilliant. And the fact that our performances we're playing well and creating chances in the games that we're not even winning or drawing, that's got to be a positive sign. It's not as if they're going out and they look like there's a lot of people like on the phone-ins and that getting pissed off with Rangers when they get beat the Hibs game and they get trolleyed.
That was hilarious.
Trolleyed.
That was a great game.
Right?
Trolleyed.
Fantastic.
Trolleyed.
That was a club banger game, I tell you.
Aye.
Club banger.
When they get their arse handed to them 4-0 off of Hibs, a lot of people were phoning up complaining that the team had no heart. Now, I was driving back up from down south and it was fantastic to listen to, but it was just guy after guy coming on and going, I could take a bad performance, I could take players playing 100%, not scoring the goals, but they gave it their all. But they're not even